Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Annie and this is Unity Consciousness. Today we're going to be discussing the energy that will be prominent beginning today, the 24th of January, moving through the weekend. What I can say about this week is it is all things Capricorn, and I also want to dedicate this week's video to a dear family member of mine and a cousin who has a lot of Capricorn in her chart and had a very adventurous weekend dealing with some of this energy that we'll be talking about. So let's get started. Yesterday we had the sun, which obviously is in Aquarius, was conjunct Mercury. And again, came together in the sky. And this, I didn't touch on this last week, but it's something that occurred to me, so I thought I would throw it out for this week's video. I was able to reconnect with several people from my past, and they just popped up out of nowhere. Didn't anticipate crossing paths with them, but I did. So it was very interesting to me that these people came back from my past. It is Mercury retrograde season, and it caused me to pause and reflect upon my relationships with those individuals and the manner in which we were brought back together relative to communications, and make note of where I have changed. So that was very interesting to me yesterday, and you may have felt some of that over the weekend as well. But anyway, today, Monday, the 24th, we've got the Mars, the planet of Mars is moving into Capricorn. And Mars loves Capricorn. It's exalted actually in Capricorn. And what that means is it's not the ruler of Capricorn. So it's like when you go to your friend's house and it's not your house, but it is the most comfortable environment and you just dig it, you love being there, and you can't wait to get back. Well, that's everything Mars and Capricorn. So Mars is energy of action and drive, really is comfortable, and it likes being here. So this is very copacetic environment, and it's going to allow us to take practical steps for some purpose. You can really enjoy an endeavor, and you're buying right into it, and it's going to also give us an opportunity to see where we might be holding ourselves back. This and another energy that's going to come in later through the weekend. So if you find yourself reflecting on an area where you might be creating a little self-imprisonment, this may be highlighted this week. Now, Mars is going to stay in Capricorn for quite some time. So this, like I said, it's very, very good energy for getting some things done, and anywhere where you practice the P's, patience, persistence, and practicality, they'll really pay off for you. Okay, then on Tuesday, we've got Mercury, which is retrograde. Mercury is going to retrograde back into Capricorn. So Mars enters Capricorn, Mercury is going to retrograde back into it. And we've also got Venus, which is in a retrograde cycle in that general area. So what's happening now is we are going to be revisiting something that occurred earlier in January with a different perspective, because again, Mercury is retrograde, so it's a pivot back. It is moving into Capricorn, so now we're revisiting something that we can apply some practical steps to when Mercury goes direct next week and resolve some issues. Then on Friday, this is a very intense energy day, and I truly believe that this energy is already being felt by individuals like myself, and that I discussed with my dear cousin over the weekend. Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is going to conjunct Pluto. This is the second meeting during this Mercury retrograde cycle, and also they're going to remain together for a little bit longer because Mercury has to station direct and then revisit, while in the shadow is going to revisit this area again. But we are beginning to see an event that occurred back in December from a much more enlightened, empowered perspective. This is really good energy for understanding some growth or growth that you've experienced it, and you are understanding it a little bit differently. And the purpose of that understanding is so that you can deal with power struggles. So things that have been a power struggle for you, you now have a means and mechanism to manage that power struggle and hopefully overcome that power struggle and then move away from it. It can result in some very intense conversations. I'm not going to lie. These conversations can be challenging. I look at them as an adventure, but it can be extremely challenging conversations with another or with yourself that allow you to, because it's a retrograde cycle and because we're dealing with Capricorn and Pluto, these are practical steps that allow you to change the manner in which you are communicating as well. And this could be a manner of communication that is generational. So in order to ascend and exist in that five-dimensional plane, we are being asked through these retrograde cycles to shed ourselves of manners in which we have conducted ourselves through generational conditioning that allow us to drop any notions, drop any manner in which we do things so that we can gain enlightenment and ascend and exist on that five-dimensional plane. So we are going to be asked to forgive those who may have generationally managed things through verbal communications that have held us back, or that have trained us to exist in a way that's different from what we know inherently to be ourselves, where we're being asked to shed those styles of communication for the purpose of freedom. Forgive those in the past that have trained us how to communicate that would be counterproductive to who you are as an individual inherently. And that may mean even forgiving yourself for things, angry words that have been said, forgiving yourself for jumping to a conclusion when it comes to communications that you now are beginning to see very clearly. If you can break that generational communication style for the purpose of transformation, therefore positively affecting the outcome so that others learn how to change their communication style, Now we're talking. Now we're up in that five-dimensional awareness. We are responding to a situation versus reacting to a situation. And like I said, let's start with forgiving ourselves first for any communication styles that are outdated now in the current five-dimensional awareness that we have elected to exist in. And then forgive others who are communicating either in the past generationally, who have trained you to do this, or those you have trained through your actions. Let's forgive them, let's forgive ourselves, and let's rework that. Let's try a different style of communication that is going to transform the outcome and allow you some freedom in the process. Big day, big energy, very intense, but I can reassure you that once you are able to rewire this situation and exist in that five-dimensional communication style, it's really going to benefit you through freedom, peace, and responding versus reacting. Then on Saturday, I'm super excited about this day. I believe it's the 29th. We've got Venus is going to station direct. Venus, that cycle that began mid-November, Venus retrograde cycle, is going to station direct, but in Capricorn. But while doing so, she's going to be trine Uranus. I'm so excited. This is a very, very, very harmonious aspect. Again, this is Venus, so this is love, money, relationships. So any actions taken during that Mercury retrograde conjunct Pluto, now you're going to begin to see some of those benefits. And I wouldn't be surprised if those two, your Mercury retrograde and your Venus retrograde, there wasn't some overlap there, because now we're coming out of that Venus retrograde cycle, wherever that hit for you, beginning mid-November. We have learned some very significant lessons here, and I speak personally on this subject. Relative to finances, the people in my household, we took a very heavy direct from a financial perspective that made it extremely difficult for us. But because we had to really kind of retract and look at things differently, it afforded us an opportunity to resolve a completely different issue relative to the relationships of the people within the home that led to some very, very powerful transformations that occurred. So we now have the ability, and it just came on so quickly because Uranus is involved here. This can be just a sudden insight or an aha moment that comes to you out of nowhere that just catapults you into your current, where you need to be right now. And like I said, it's very harmonious. It's very, very kind, very loving, very Venus feeling, very Venus positivity and softness and all of that wonderful love energy coming in. Now, I want to make sure that as we come out of this Venus retrograde cycle, that you take time to understand the lessons that have been learned. What have you learned? Make sure that, or my suggestion would be to make sure that you apply what you've learned moving forward. Again, this Venus retrograde cycle is affording us the opportunity to level up to that 5-dimensional energy that exists, that we've chosen to exist in now. And that's, again, relative to money, it's relative to relationships, and that can even be the relationship with yourself. So then on Sunday, the 30th, we have the Sun, which is in Aquarius, is going to square Uranus, which is in Taurus. Now, the Sun and Aquarius and Uranus are all copacetic energies. Now, when we infuse Taurus into this and a square, I have to believe there's going to be, this is where we're going to begin to feel or notice where we may be stubborn in an area that we need to let go of. So, because it's a square, we're being asked to do something or take action on something. So with Uranus being in Taurus, and Uranus's energy is copacetic with the Sun and Aquarius, so I do believe that there may be some moments, aha moments, that are relative to where you or I or people are being stubborn, and by allowing ourselves not to be stubborn, to accept what is, and allowing that energy to get us in where we need to be. It's going to move us in a place of knowing, of acknowledgement of your authentic self. So Uranus is involved here. Be flexible, expect the unexpected, expect some aha moments, and if you find yourself being stubborn, just let go of it. There's no need to hang on to it. There's no need, none whatsoever. So that's what I have for you this week. What can we do with this energy? It's heavy Capricorn, so the P's, patience, persistence, and practicality pay off this week. It may be pivoting back to take a recognizing look at where you've come from and just apply those lessons moving forward so that you can find that freedom that you so desperately deserve. And enjoy the adventure. During this process, even when it gets intense, if you need to step away from it, practice healthy detachment, separate yourself from it as if you're watching a play as being in, and opposed to being in the play, make it so it's not so personal. So step away. Don't miss the adventure that exists in any environment where it might be a little bit intense. Just, it's an adventure. No different than when you're driving through a snowstorm. It can be very, very intense. But if you just relax and appreciate the moment that you're in, you can appreciate the journey a little bit more. And like I said, healthy detachment is always good. We've got Venus going direct here. So the turning points of that Venus retrograde cycle, we've seen them. We're now, hindsight is 2020. We're now beginning to realize things a little bit differently. Apply that realization moving forward so that we can continue the momentum and that alignment with 5-dimensional energy. And always remember that love is the highest vibration. So if you find yourself, you feel yourself being pulled back or drawn back to that 3-dimensional place, just know that love is always the answer. First to yourself, then someone else. Very much like the oxygen mask theory when you're on a plane. If you hit a little turbulence and you've lost cabin pressure, you put that oxygen mask on yourself before you give it to someone else. Do the same thing with love. If you find yourself in a very difficult or an intense situation, provide love to yourself. Tell yourself you love yourself first, and then afford that other person, the adversarial positioning person, or whatever that intense energy means for you. Apply that love to that situation as well, and that way you'll maintain that very high vibration. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you stopping by today. My day is always better with you in it. If you like this video, please do like it. If you feel that there's somebody you know who may be helped by this video, please do share it with them. And click the subscribe button so you'll know when videos are being released. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Namaste.